All right, Robin Scrimger, Victoria, BC. Thanks for
Yep.
coming on with me, my man.
Hey, it's a pleasure.
I hear
So
that
good to
phone
be
phone
here.
ringing. You must be busy.
Yeah, it's lighting up all the time, so can't complain.
Love it.
Mhm.
Cool, man. Well, I think let's just dive into it. So why don't we start by just telling everyone a little bit about yourself and your business?
Yeah, so I live in Victoria, British Columbia. We service kind of South Vancouver Island from Duncan South out to Souk in Sydney. And it's myself. I've got one other buyer's agent who I work with. And then we've got a full-time ISA. And I've got an ops manager as well. And, we're just kind of cranking. We onboarded the ISA about 3 months ago. And, that's kind of how things are going. Last year, on my own, I did about 53 ends. We're definitely tracking higher than that this year. And I think what I'm most excited about is just kind of where I'm going to see things pop, I think, toward, mid-summer and into the fall here. So,
Yeah, which it sounds close, but we'll get into that.
yeah.
Cool. So yeah, why don't you tell everyone really quickly, like a little bit about where you were at before working with Agent Launch, and then we'll get into a little bit more about where you're kind of at now and some of the developments we've seen along the way.
Yeah, so I mean, I was a solo agent. I had myself and one ops manager. I was doing paid lead generation through a different service and was kind of getting good leads. But I was a solo agent and looking to grow and kind of scale, so that would give me a little bit more opportunity to have some passive income generation.
Mhm.
And that's been working. So that's been kind of the big focus for me over the last, I guess, really since February of this year. We're now here into July. So, it took me a while to figure out where to go. And then, of course, I was hooked up with you guys, and now we're kind of, ramping up into the growth phase.
Awesome. So yeah, I know you brought on Inmar as an ISA. So do you want to talk a little bit about that process? Like it sounds like last year you did 54 ends with just you and your ops manager.
Yeah.
And so this year you brought on, we just got you Inmar, and then the other piece was one buyer's agent, right? So
Correct.
you're just kind of hitting that ramp up phase. So talk a little bit about bringing on Inmar and how that's impacted things for you guys.
Yeah, so I mean, it's been amazing. He's been able to engage with stale leads. So one of the things that I was frustrated with in my business before is that I just didn't have time to continually follow up with people.
Mhm.
And as a result, I ended up losing, I think last year, well, I know for sure I lost over 6 figures worth of GCI just because I didn't have time to follow up with everybody. So the one big impact that he's had right out of the gate has just been re-engaging a lot of the past leads. I mean, that's the ISA portion of it. He's also he's on the phone all the time, and he's really good. And I mean, he just grinds it, he works it. And we are using this program Slack, which was recommended by you guys just for internal team communication. And so anytime he gets a lead, I just get a ping and I can see, hey, this is somebody who's ready to go. And it's been amazing. So
Yeah, so let's dive into that a little bit, because Slack, when I'm on a call with someone, when I talk about Slack, they're a little bit like they get their walls up around introducing another software, right? That's very typical because as realtors, we're always buried in a lot of different programs. But the one
yeah,
thing I always say is like, so part of our build out is building you an internal communication program and making some automations through that. And
yeah.
every one of our clients loves it when they use it, but there's always a little hesitation because a lot of people are used to living on WhatsApp. And I think one, WhatsApp doesn't create a divide between your personal and your business life, but two, it gets really messy with all these different WhatsApp groups. And it just gets hard to manage at a certain point.
Well, and yeah, and for me, like I'm a tech Luddite. I hate tech. Generally, like I only use it because I need to use it for work. But if I didn't need this, I would just be riding my bike and skiing and have a flip phone. Like honestly, because nothing like it doesn't really interest me. So for me to actually endorse this is like that's a pretty good thing, just because I'm not that tech guy. But I found it extremely useful because even if I don't have visibility on something, like if I'm busy or if I'm with a client, my ops manager can see what's coming through or the other buyer's agent. So we all have visibility on the same thing. And so it just prevents things from dropping. And the nice thing is just the threads you can continue on with certain topics. And it's really good. I like that program.
Yeah, that's awesome. I mean, I remember when our team was two people and we brought on the third, and he even recommended to me Slack, because I was like, well, I used to use Slack in the company I used to work for, and we had 80 people, and it made a lot of sense. But it's just, it may not feel like you needed it 2 people, but once you get to 3, 4, 5, it makes your life a lot easier. So anyways, that's one thing. But what about some specifics, like specific results you've been able to achieve? I know you're only a couple months into the program, and like we've been able to make some pretty good strides there. Talk a little bit about the specific results you guys have achieved with, maybe even if it's just working with clients and the conversation we had.
Pull up, I mean, conversions have been huge. I think, like, I'll just pull up my, can you still see me on the screen? Because I'm just trying to pull up.
Yeah, I can see you. Yeah.
Because we've got, let's see, leads report. Yeah, so I mean, for Inmar, I mean, I've got where he's been tracking leads weekly, all the way through. And I mean, his conversions are just, they've been amazing. So just to give you an example, like his conversion rates are, his overall conversion rates are over 20%. Like we're talking, yeah. So, and that's like long-term. So yeah, I mean, since April 26th, which was when he started with all this tracking, yeah, his conversion rate's like 20% of the leads that are coming in, and we're generating, anywhere from, I mean, we're bringing in over 100 leads per month. So, the fact that he's converting over 20%, it's really helped our pipeline. So we have an extremely healthy pipeline right now, which is a good thing because the market's changed. It's more of a buyer's market. And if we didn't have as healthy a pipeline as we did, I might feel stressed. But I mean, I just like, and a lot of these people, they're moving here, they're not quite ready to go, but they're active and engaged. And that's been huge for us. And it gives me a lot of confidence moving forward. And I can see that things are going to just pop. And it's all numbers game. And so when I look at the numbers, I'm like, this is great.
Yeah, that's awesome. And it's all about building the pipeline in the early days, right? Like I think I just made a video on that of how, when I put a video out today, how it's like, if you call a plumber, you need a plumber now. You call a realtor, you might buy a home in 6 months. And so it's like, I think the first, 4 months of the program is really setting up and dialing this stuff in to build that pipeline. And it does really take 6 months to really take off. It's just about getting those first few, in the first few months. And then, so that's nice to hear, because I do sense there's a lot of people stressed right now in the market. And I always try and say, like, you got to do the Warren Buffett approach, which is like, invest when everyone else pulls out, so that when things do turn around, you're in a good position. And it seems like that's what you guys have been doing. Yeah, well, and I'm committed to that. I mean, I've actually increased my ad spend just because I want to make sure that we have more leads than other, my competitors, and that we're in a healthy position. That's awesome. Yeah. Any other general thoughts on the program, your experience? Like, I know you guys have been super happy with the ISA. We brought ISAs. Love the content ideas. Just finally starting to take advantage of them. I think just the access, like all of the portal in the back end. I mean, it's one of those things where it takes time and commitment and intent, which is something that I've been, not had lately because I've been busy. But that being said, I have been able to dial in, and I've been very lucky because like my ops manager's been following a lot of this stuff, and then she's been able to kind of cherry pick and be like, hey, do this, do that, and this is what you need to do. And she's kind of whip cracking for me, which is what I want her to be doing. So just all of the resources around content, I can see that that's all going to just help things grow. And it's also going to give me a lot bigger, just reach and spread. So you're going to bring your first video to our content strategy call. We're going to watch it. Yeah, absolutely. For anyone watching, this is a great way to go about our program, is if you do have an assistant or like an ops manager or something, because you often, the agent will get busy. So having someone to kind of champion that is good. If you have the time, you can get into it. But yeah, again, that first 4 months is like building the infrastructure, refining it, starting the content play, and really dialing that stuff in. So yeah, what would you say to someone who's kind of like thinking about this, maybe watching some of these videos, leading in the direction of maybe doing this, maybe they have some walls up? What would you say to that person? Yeah, the other thing I didn't even touch on is just the ad management.
So like I said before, I was using a different company to manage all my PPC. That came with a management fee. So huge benefit to having everything, and like Axel's amazing, actually. That guy's been so accessible. So just having access to guys like that and setting up our campaigns, and actually our cost per lead through the agent launch program is less than what it was through the professional company that was managing it. And now we have access to manage everything in-house, but we also have access if we need to make tweaks or if I got any questions. And that's been huge as well, because it's freed up more budget for me to actually buy leads, which is really, that matters the most. So
Ownership.
yeah, I've been super happy with that part of the program as well.
That's awesome. So what would you say to someone on the fence?
Oh, I'd say just do it and realize that it's a commitment, and you got to make sure you're putting the time in. But as far as the ISA program and the ad spend, like that's been really fairly easy. Like those aspects, I mean, I've been pretty hands off and I haven't had to do a whole lot. We have weekly team meetings. I check in. I'm always asking, what can we do to help make the ISA's role better and easier and help with those conversions. But I'd say, like, yeah, if you're trying to build your business and you want to make sure you're not going to starve or go back to doing whatever job you had before, it's definitely worth it. Or if you're in the growth phase and you've got a solid business, but you want to see things grow and maybe be able to scale a bit and have a bit more freedom in life, I'd recommend it for that as well. Because, like, I don't know, I got a family and they like to see me. And last year they never saw me. Like, I was flat out and it wasn't sustainable. And so, if you're planning to grow and you want to do a lot of volume, you can't, and not sacrifice your personal life or be able to still have one, then this is a great program for that.
I think that's a great point, because I think a lot of people underestimate that burnout is real. And I think a lot of people go through things like divorce when they just, stop paying attention to those things. And I think it's something people don't talk about enough, right?
Yeah.
But it's very real. There's a lot of agents who get burnt out, overwhelmed, don't get those pieces of leverage that they need. So I'm glad that had that positive effect for you, my man. So
yeah, and even on a personal note, like, it was so important for me. My wife had cancer last year. Kids, as they get older, they have their own little ups and downs and they need time. And, you can't, if you're giving your time to people, then you're not giving your time to your business. And so, if you want to have that balance, you gotta have other resources in place and support, just other pillars of support, I think. So, and that's what this has provided.
100%, man. Well, I'm super stoked for you. I look forward to continuing this journey with you. And yeah, I really appreciate you jumping on to do this, Robin. So thanks so much, my man.
Oh, I'm stoked. Thank you, Eric. We'll talk to you
Appreciate it,
soon.
brother.
Have a great one. Bye.